and a very warm welcome to the latest in our series of Coffee in Palestine. I'm Nell Burden, and today we're in the ancient historic city of Jericho, otherwise known as the City of Palms. With historical evidence dating back to over 10,000 years, this is the oldest ongoing civilization in the world, and at 260 metres below sea level, it is also the lowest. Although a very popular holiday destination for Palestinians and internationals, it is not without its serious issues from the Israeli occupation, as we're about to find out.
Thank you. Welcome in Jericho.
Thank you very much. Okay, shall we go? I met with an expert in Palestinian ancient history, Dr. Wael Hamamra. He explained to me the importance of the oldest city in the world for Palestinian history and tourism.
Here there's an ancient Roman aqueduct. At the slope, there's a line.
Just coming
down
down the slope
yeah.
here.
You see the whitish? We have this ancient Roman aqueduct.
Ah, yes,
yeah,
I see.
There's one down and there's another one up. It shifts the water to the Roman city of Herodes Palace, Tlul Abu Alaik.
And can you just show us the buildings on the side, so
Yeah,
the Orthodox?
this is the Greek Orthodox monastery, which called Mount Temptation, and also it called Mount Krontol. It came from Quarantana. Quarantana means 40. In Greek, it means 40, and this is the 40 days and night which Jesus stay in the site.
Okay, thank you very much for joining me here on Mount Temptation. First of all, can you tell me a little bit about this area?
Now we are in Mount Temptation. It is an important mountain related to the Christian beliefs, where Jesus feasted 40 days and night.
Okay, and as we can see, it's great for the tourists because you've got a cable car coming all the way up. But that wasn't always the case, was it?
Yeah, there is two choices to reach the monastery. Maybe you can reach it by the cable car, the telepheric, or you can reach it by foot. There's steps adjacent to the cliff of the mountain. You can climb them and reach the monastery.
Right. So you're telling me that we're surrounded by very, very important sites. Yes. Now, who's in charge of the upkeep of these sites? And I want you to explain the upkeep in Area A and in Area C.
Yeah. Many sites located in Area A. But some other important sites located in Area C, for example, the Herodes Palace, Tlul Abu Alaik, they are located in Area C, and this important site included a wonderful palaces dated back to the Hellenistic and Roman period, and they are the Hellenistic and Roman Jericho at that time. Nowadays, the Palestinian Ministry of Antiquities cannot work there or develop and open this site to the tourists and to the local people.
So will that essentially destroy the upkeep and history of the site because people can't come and see it? So is there any monitoring of these sites and how well kept?
During the 70s, the Israeli Department of Antiquities made some excavations at the site. And nowadays, if you visit the site, you will find that many of the result, the structure of that excavations now deteriorated or damaged because they are in Area C and nobody can work and develop the site from the Palestinian side.
Okay. How many parts of these sites have actually ended up in Israeli museums? Are there antiquities from these sites?
Also, if we speak about, for example, Hisham's palace, a lot of objects which found during the British and Jordanian rule are found in Rockefeller Museum in Jerusalem. And the important object now exists there. And we are prevented to see, and as we know, the Rockefeller Museum, it is the Palestinian museum, the national museum, and we cannot reach or administrate that museum.
So, you know, what you're telling me is in Area A, for example, the upkeep is, you know, it's great. You still have archaeologists working on the site. You have a steady influx of tourists.
Yes.
But in Area C, it's a different story.
Yes.
So I want to understand, actually, what's the issue in Area C? It's under full Israeli military and civil control. Area
C is a neglected area by the Israeli. They control it, but they don't work in. They don't work. We don't want them to excavate, because if they excavate, it will be an illegal excavation, according to the international law. But, for example, if they excavate an area, they should maybe cover it or protect it or make some restoration at that time, not nowadays. But they don't do these things.
And what history are they looking for?
They're looking for a site connected to their history. But if the site related to an Islamic or, let's say, a Bronze Age or a prehistoric site, they don't take care too much in these sites.
Why are they most interested in the Iron Age?
As I told you before, because they thought that this is related to their history.
Let's end that there. Thank you very much. That was a great interview.
Welcome.
So now we'll go and see where Jesus was fasting for 40 days and nights.
Okay.
Great.
This is one of the balcony in the monastery. You can have a beautiful view. You can control the wadi which is located down, and you can see the ancient caves, and mostly they are natural caves.
But they would have been inhabited.
Yeah, in the past they are inhabited maybe during the prehistoric time and maybe during the Roman time. Also reused by the monks themselves. This is according to the Christian belief that this is the stones which the Satan told to Jesus, I want to convert these stones to bread for you.
Dr. Wael led me to Tel Sultan. This site is the oldest excavated site in Jericho, which contains the oldest known civilization in the world. As you said, this has been through numerous occupations, numerous wars, numerous famines, diseases, and it's all piled up in the history here.
Yeah. So all of this history accumulated close to the spring of Ain al-Sultan.
Yes.
Because of this, we found here several stratas of phases. If we look in the sections of this trench, which excavated by Kathleen Kenyon during the 50s of the last century, we found, for example, a strata with light gray color. Then there's brown layer of earth, then another, let's say, dark brown or gray layer, and each layer have its own history, have its own period.
So actually, you say these layers, do they have anything to do with human habitation?
Yes, if we are closed down, we, for example, find some, because the lower stratas and layers dated back to the prehistoric period. So we will find the tools which used by the ancient man in Palestine in these layers. We will find some knives or flints or hand axes or arrowheads from flints in these layers. We will find some huts or small rooms, the corner of them, or some installations related to that period. But the magnificent, let's say, discovery was this huge tower. And this tower, to the west of it, there is another stone wall, which nowadays covered by the fallen of the earth from the both section of this trench. The diameter of this tower is about 8 meters, and the same as its height. And the tower have 22 stairs, which go from the bottom to the bottom, from the bottom to the top. Create this stele or pile of earth.
That's just incredible. And how old is this tower?
This is 10,000 years ago.
10,000
years ago.
And it's the first tower of its type in the world in that era.
The huge structure in the world, not only in Palestine, in the world at that time, this tower. If we want to compare it, we can compare it with Çatalhöyük in Turkey, but this is more huge and earlier than that one. the ancient name of Jericho during the second millennium BC, and it was found with this princess as a necklace, and mentioned the name of Rauha. And so Rauha could be
here on
yes,
this.
On this one, Rauha, and this is the necklaces which found with and the object, the funerary object which found with it. So it shows that the name of Jericho exists at that time.
As described by Dr. Wael, all of these historical sites in Area A are well renovated and looked after and are great for tourism here. But now we're going to go to Area C under full Israeli military control, where many of the historical sites are looted and the items end up in Israeli museums. Our aim was to enter Herod's palace in Area C under full Israeli military control. However, we were prevented from filming in the area by the Israeli army. Instead, we entered Hisham's palace in Jericho. Although this area is under Palestinian control, this wasn't always the case. In 1994, this was handed back from the Israelis to the Palestinian Authority. However, the majority of objects were looted from the site before this time. Many items now lie in Israeli museums, and they've refused to give them back to the original site. You're going to show us Hisham's palace now. Tell me a bit about this.
Yeah, Hisham's palace is an Umayyad palace since the 8th century. It was constructed in the year 724 AD, so by the Umayyads, by the Umayyad dynasty, and it was one of the Umayyad winter palaces in the Middle East.
This place hasn't always been under this kind of great preservation as it is now. At one point it was looted, there's been a lot taken from it. Where have these pieces ended up and what were the issues? Can you get them back?
The pieces, they were sent to the museums, to Rockefeller Museum in Jerusalem. And most of the foundings that time, it's now in the museums, especially in Jerusalem.
So let's just come closer, and I want you to tell me a little bit about this star, where it was, and the full scape of the building. Yeah. What it would have looked like.
So it was a palace was constructed from 2 levels. So the first level was for the services and for bath area, and the whole of the crown for the king and the caliph when he came to the palace. And the second level was for living, for the royal family. And this star was on top of the second level, and it was, let's say, the facade of the palace.
Who controls the majority of tourists that come from around the world into this area? Do they come with Israeli tours? Do they come with Palestinian tours? Where do they get their information about this area?
Well,
the majority.
The majority, they take the information from guidebooks in Europe, you can find, and United States. So you can find many guidebooks that advertise the places.
Yeah.
And also the travel agencies. The Israeli travel agencies are more powerful than the Palestinian travel agencies because they have more flexibility in the work. But the Palestinian travel agencies, they have regulations that they have to follow these regulations. Here you can find the crown room. It's very well preserved, as you see, and you can see the tree of life down there with the gazelle, and it's the battle between the evil and the good.
Oh, right.
So you can see here the lion. The evil is dealing with the good and hurting the gazelle, and over there the gazelles live in peace. So, and the tree of life. So the life is full of contradiction.
I informed our guide that our next stop was the Dead Sea.
It's divided between Palestinian National Authority, Israel, and Jordan. So half of the Dead Sea is in the Jordanian. The eastern side of the Dead Sea is the Jordanian side, under the Jordanian control. The northern part, around 40 kilometers of the Dead Sea, is in the West Bank territories.
Yeah.
So it's now sea area.
Yeah.
According to Oslo Agreement, the land was divided into A, B, and C areas, and now it's under Israeli control.
And from the grandeur of Hisham's palace in Jericho, we'll now make our way to the Dead Sea, where in 1948 a Palestinian shepherd found the Dead Sea Scrolls. A few kilometers from Jericho, we arrived at the Dead Sea, also known as the Salt Sea. This large lake borders Jordan to the east and Israel and Palestine to the west. It's a hypersaline lake that is truly one of Earth's unique places. This is the area in which a Palestinian shepherd had founded the first of the collection of the Dead Sea Scrolls, the most important findings in biblical history. The Dead Sea now serves as an international holiday destination. However, the Palestinians do not benefit from this, as a small strip which remains under their control also lies in Area C, and they are not permitted to build infrastructure. The Israeli side is a different story. With large hotels and heavily guarded resorts, tourists and their millions flock here every year, though quite often the Palestinians are forbidden entry. I asked tourists how aware they were of the Israeli occupation of the surrounding areas of Jericho and how this affected the Palestinian citizens. The answers were unsurprising.
It's very difficult, and the problem is so many politicians already try to find a solution, and how should we? But I think it's very important that that everybody is aware of it and tries to understand the situation on both sides, of course.
Jericho? Do you know anything about the politics of it?
Not the area, the Israeli area as a whole, but not just the specific area in here.
Yeah. So do you know which country this is?
Yeah, this is Palestine.
This is Palestine. And what do you know about the occupation here?
Not much.
That's a really tough question. As a Christian, I guess I am like in the middle of both. You know, I really can give an opinion whether it's good or bad, because I really don't know much of the history. So we gotta know the history to know who's right. But
you don't know the politics of the area?
No.